Right, if you weren't here one day last week and you happened to miss how to do the Revolutionary War simulation roles assignment number 9, I wanted to go over it real quickly. I think probably at this point, if you've been following along in class, you know that you are playing a role of either a spy, soldier, or officer. And those roles are based on what you were in our last simulation. So that'll make sense when I show you the first attachment. So first thing, the simulation roles descriptions. So it's basically saying whatever you were in our previous simulation, this is now your new role. Not that you have to reflect like you're done with these old roles, but I just kind of use them to justify, what position was what. It was mostly your lower class people that ended up being the actual foot soldiers that were like on the lines and, in battle. So I took the, 3 lowest earners and you guys turned into soldiers. Spies were typically people with a little bit of a higher status, usually well spoken or, educated, so that they're able to communicate. So I did make that kind of middle class group, my spies. And then it would be probably your upper class that would fit into the officer position. There's obviously going to be exceptions to that, such as, Hamilton ends up being, making his way up in the ranks, and he was just some immigrant that had to get a scholarship to college. So he wouldn't have really fit that bill. But for the most part, officers were of a little bit higher status, unless, they worked their way up in the ranks and proved themselves, which definitely happens. And governors, since you guys kind of got the sweet end of the deal last time, because you got paid all that money without having to do much, I did make you a soldier, so you don't get to reap the benefits of also being an officer, which really makes sense. If you were a governor, you were loyal, and you probably would have went back to England anyways. But either way, these are going to be your roles. So you're going to use this simulation roles presentation, and each of these slides, really you can click on, like, let's say I was a gunsmith, so now I'm a soldier. So you can click on the soldier and it will take you to a description of kind of like an overview of what a soldier's role was. This is also just a slides presentation. So as you go and need to look at other roles, you can just navigate or, press the arrow buttons to get through this presentation as well. But this is where you're going to learn about your new position in this week's simulation. And just like we did when you guys had your characters that you play in our last simulation, you are going to do kind of like a character sketch and all about me page as well. So you're going to put your name here. You can use the same colonial name as you had before, or you can create a new one. And then here is where you're going to put what your new assigned role is. So if I was a governor before, now I'm just going to put soldier right here. All right, then you can actually, I've linked this up to where you can click this link and it will take you to the soldiers page. And here you're just going to answer the questions based on that reading. So you got a better idea of what you're doing, what your job was in the revolution. But I do still want you to know what the other roles were, because this is an army that works together. If you were a printer, you didn't necessarily need to know what a wig maker did, even though it's pretty self-explanatory. But in this, I do want you to know kind of what spies and officers are like. So that's what the other 2 slides are about, and you are required to do them. You don't have to do them as if it's you. And really not as even in depth as you do on slide 1. But I want you to at least read through the other positions so you know what their job is. So if I was a soldier, I can pick which one I want to do next. Maybe I want to be a spy. So you just do spy here, and you'll answer these questions based on the reading you do for spy. And then you'll do the same thing for officer. So by the end of this, you will have filled out a slide for each position, but your main focus should be on what you are doing, because that's going to help you, make the decisions in the simulation. All right. So you should only need those 2, the slides presentation as a resource that gives you what you're doing. And then, that's how you're going to complete this. All right. Hope that makes sense.